Hello. How is everybody doing today? It is I, Andrew Giovinazzi, Director of Education for OptionPit.com. Option trader since 1989. What is that, 36 years? Anyway, saying hello from the Rock in Maine where I live and never leave, except I come to you and talk about options, trades, how to trade them, how to understand volatility, how to create positions. I started when I was 2 trading options. That is correct. It's hard to believe that I'm 60, but that's how old I am. I know. Hey, so what's going on today? Now, Leisha started when she was 2. I started a little later. Now, in the past, we have had a CPI and a PPI report, and the market would do something. Why isn't it not doing anything now? Just thought I'd give you a little state of the market, right? We are waiting. The volatility products like VXX, they're up. We just had, things, they should be getting lower. Why not? Because all eyes are on August 1st. We need some trade deals. The market thought we were going to have them July 9th. Now we got to wait till August 1st. So what happens is option prices stop decaying until that date. And what will happen is volatility futures will continue to rise, right? Or basically kind of stay still. Ed's saying they tried to take the vol down this morning. Right. Yep, tariffs are not doing what Powell thought. PPI was lower. That also means like they're not at their inflation target yet, so I don't think they're going to lower rates. And I think that's what the market was feasting on the facts. That rates might get lowered, and now they're like, yeah, probably not. So, where does that leave us? So it leaves us with, well, just take a look here. And this is why I'm doing trades like this right now. Okay. Now, I don't do these in Rip Zone because Rip Zone's vol products, and I don't do them in weekly profit cycles. That's SPY and VIX. But my pro students are going to see this a little more coming up. We've been doing stuff vaguely like it. But like this is where SPY is. Like basically all-time highs. WA says, good time to sell covered calls. Funny you mention that. Do you guys remember a couple weeks ago, we looked at PFE at Pfizer? And I said, hey, I'm going to sell some puts. We're going to start this wheel trade thing. So what I like to do is I don't like to wheel stocks that are going straight up. Because I think you do better buying calls. And that's Hans will cover that, I believe, Thursday. Right? Ways to kind of juice that type of trade. But I think the drug stocks, they pay a good dividend. And by the way, I'm an old guy. I'm going to be retired soon. Right? I'm an old guy. I'm going to be retired soon. So I don't know when, actually, to be quite honest, because I'll always be doing this anyway. So probably never retire. Anyway, but the idea is when you've got a market at the top, but a lot of stocks are not. Like right now, the drug stocks, there's some, I would just say there's some ambivalence there on what's going on. And again, I want trades that will generate money. Yeah, I know I have everybody's saying you're not going to retire. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere yet. I'm not going anywhere because I'll just be doing the same thing. At least I get to talk to people now through the screen. So anyway, I'll just tell you what I did. So let's just review the wheel trade a little bit. The first thing is at Option Pit, when I say I'm doing trades, when I put trades out, I do all the trades that I put out. Number one. So when I say I'm selling some puts, I'm selling some puts. So Pfizer, for this account size, there's $150,000 in it. For me, it's a 5 lot selling puts. So I sold the 5 lot. Let's see here if I can grow this up a little bit. Before I get to that, let's recall what the wheel trade is. The first thing is my PFE trades has been as bad as their vaccines. Well, the one thing with the wheel trade is there's time. Right? They're not, when you buy calls, I gotta, you gotta think about it like this. When you buy calls, what do you want to have happen relatively fast when you buy calls? Even if you buy long-term calls, what do you want to have happen? Right? Moonshot. Okay. When you sell puts, you're going to be waiting. Nobody ever sold a put and said they're going to go out worthless today, right? You just need things to be sideways, right? So selling puts is a different mode than buying calls, even though the delta could be relatively the same at the beginning, right? Delta is stock equivalent. But they're different risk profiles, right? Right? Writing calls against stock, doing a buy right? How many people have done that? Your timeline when you do those trades is by definition longer. Does everybody get that? Sometimes you put on a trade, you want things to move, happen. Other times, when you put the trade on, you got to let time go by. Is everybody clear on that? So time, when you put a trade on, matters. Right? Also, time matters trading options because time is one of the variables that move. Remember, underlying price, time, and volatility, all three of these things move when you trade options. Right? So I want you to just remember that they matter because they matter to the price of the options. It's not like I care about them, right? But the option price cares about them. And if the option price cares about them, as an old guy trading options, then I care about them. So the idea of a wheel trade is what, right? Recall what your wheel is. I want to sell a put. I want to collect the stock and the dividend, and then I'm going to write a call. Okay? So that's what I'm doing in a wheel trade. How many people in here have ever sold a put before to take stock? And the first time it happened, you were probably like, ah! Right? First time, like, first time for everything. I don't know if I want it. So, what are my basic rules? Basic rules of trading. Okay, we'll put them right on top for you. if you buy options, you need to what? If I buy options, I need to sell them. Okay? If I sell options, I have to expect delivery. Does everybody understand the difference between those two? Okay? If you're trading and you're not, right, and you're somehow thinking you can get away with not doing that, or you're going to get away with not having to take delivery. Sniper saying, selling puts have given me PTSD. You know why? Because you thought you were going to sell them and you were going to be right. Every time I sell a put, I assume I'm going to be called. I'm going to get put. As soon as you do that, it's going to change the way you manage the trade. Right? Cash settled is the same thing, right? Expect delivery. Right? Expect delivery. As soon as you, even let's say you guys sell call spreads because you think a stock's going down. You sell these juicy call spreads way up there. How many people have sold juicy call spreads or juicy calls way up there and think it's no way the stock's getting up there? No way it can go up there. And then what happens right after you say that? It gets up there. And then you're like, now what do I do? Because you didn't expect to have to deliver short shares. You're surprised. And the more you trade options, the more you will learn to be not to be surprised. Meaning anything can happen. So the idea of a wheel trade is you have a little bit more of a time horizon, and I expect each piece of the puzzle. I expect I'm gonna sell a put. I'm trying to get put. I'm trying to get the stock. I'm trying to get the dividend, and I want to sell the call. These are very concrete things. How do you manage it? You manage it by taking a certain part of your portfolio of whatever you're doing, and that's all you allocate to this one stock. Do you want one stock to wreck your life? No. Now down the road in here, I will show you how to manage a trade. Let's say that's not going great. You bought a stock and it sucks. Right? But you don't want one trade to wreck your life. So it doesn't matter how much money I have, I'm never going to over allocate to anything. Okay. So I'll give you an example. Renaissance Capital, probably the most successful hedge fund in the world. Do you think they put all their bucks into one trade every year? Right? Now, again, algo trading, all sophisticated computers. Right? They have multiple names doing multiple things. So no YOLO. Well, you can YOLO, right? But just buy a one lot, buy a two lot, you know? So the idea here is, this is what I did. So for Pfizer, I started selling some puts. And then I sold so let's take a look here at what I did. So I started so the stock was trading 25. but making $300 just seems like a waste of time. Well, it depends on what you want to do, Matt, man. You know, ultimately, everybody has to trade or manage their finances the way that works for them. You know what I mean? But if you got 500 here, 300 here, 700 here, all of a sudden you have a few trades out like this during the week, like you've got some money. You know, just depends on, how you want to manage it, how much capital you keep out, how efficient you are making your $300. But that's reasonable. Again, it's not going to work for everybody. This is a technique. You could say, I like it or I don't like it. So right now, the Pfizer trade is doing this. So when the stock was higher, right, I sold the 25 puts for 22 cents. Now, normally I want more yield than this, but I was just trying to look for a stock that's relatively, I'll call it a safe stock, right? They went out, they looked like they were going out worthless, so I bought them back for 3 cents, and then I sold the 25 and a half puts, which were very close to the money, for 19 cents with the idea that I would be taking delivery. All right, so let's look at the last couple weeks. And there we go, last 10 days. And then yesterday, I think I'm like, cool, it looks like I'm going to take delivery. And then we had the little thing, the little fall off. I think all the drug stocks got hit for some reason. And now I'm back here. Now, the thing is, let's do some arithmetic with how this works. Because when I started this, I believe it was Pfizer was trading closer to $26 when I think we first started this thing, right? Like right around here. What was I think like 6th or something, maybe here. So the stock is up here. Now it's down here. If I just bought the stock, I might be down buck and a half, something like that. And now, right, because this was 702 when I bought it. So we were trading 25.40. So now we're trading, so let's call it 60 cents or something like that. So I got 20 cents in my pocket. So that's lowered my entry price a little bit. So I've got what did I do? I sold basically, that's 41 less 3. It's 38 cents worth of options. Not very exciting yet. But from 25 and a half, that's getting me down to about 25.12 entry, plus a 43-cent dividend, which will be coming to me at some point. So now my real entry cost is pushed down to around 24.70, 24.65. And we're trading 24.84. Now, this might not be a big deal to you, but we've managed selling puts, expecting delivery, expecting the dividend. Even with the stock down, we're still making money. We'll still be able to make money. And as soon as I take delivery, I'm going to sell a 25 and a half call. So the stock is down. It's done everything I didn't want, but yet there's still the opportunity to make some money. So again, it's what we're trying to do. I'm trying to do anyway, is teach you how to learn how to use the options properly. And then we'll see what happens. So remember, the goal was try to get 4% in a month on this position. So how many of you, if you got 4% a month on anything you're doing, would you view that as successful for your portfolio? If you've got a portfolio of options, you're making 4% a month. Yes, you would. If you can earn 4% a month, you're at around 50% a year. You're doing pretty good. So what I'm trying to give you the sense of is there's a lot of ways to trade options. Okay? A lot of ways to trade options, not just one. And this might be boring, but again, looking at certain types of stocks, this is, I would say, there's still risk in the strategy. You're selling puts, taking delivery, and stocks can tank. But it's certainly, it is a way to approach the market. And especially when you have, put it this way, would I wheel a stock like NVIDIA for the dividend? Okay. No, I think trading NVIDIA, buying calls, right? And what happened basically I didn't buy NVIDIA, but I bought SMH, right? Because I'm a wuss and I can never understand why it gets the value it does. So I bought SMH instead. Right. Still doubled. Still almost doubled from the bottom. So, but would I wheel either of those? Would I wheel SMH? Yeah, maybe down here, but then you'd miss the whole ramp. So I think, again, Pfizer, just stocks like this, right? Is Pfizer going to $100? This strategy is most useful for stocks like consumer staples or low vol. I would say yes, Sniper, it is. You're right. You only want to sell puts and stocks really that aren't going to go moonshot. Anybody taking Pfizer over? No. Anybody taking Exxon over? No. ET is a potential. Hogan, because of the dividend. It's just, it doesn't generate a lot of option premium, like after, even if paying a small commission, I want to make sure I make some money. Can I make money selling at least a 10 lot? I like a 10 lot. Can I get my $200 on a 10 lot? You know what I mean? You got a few 10 lots laying out there. Like, you want to make your money on those. I think a stock like ET, which is Energy Transfer, it has a fairly large dividend. I think it's like 32. Yeah, it's 32 cents. Actually, I own some ET, right? WA, let's start a wheeling service. It just so happens I might be doing that in the future. And I've done it before. We had very, very good, very, very good results with it. But how sensitive is this strategy to VIX fluctuation, says Sniper? I would say it's just as sensitive as any other long stock portfolio, Sniper. The only difference is you are entering stocks at lower prices always. The idea of this strategy, whenever you're selling puts in anything, is, are you getting a lower entry than the current market price? Right? That's the whole point. I want to buy stocks for less than they are right now, and I want to sell stocks for more than they are right now. Right? If you think about it like that, isn't that what you're doing? Again, I'll talk about hedging and all kinds of other things that you can do for this strategy down the road, or strategies like this, right? That's why we have different strategies at Option Pit in general, just like, okay, how do I hedge an option portfolio of stocks? How do I do that? But for right now, for my wheel, why am I interested in this now? Because there's a lot of stocks that have not participated in this rally. Does everybody understand that part? Right? Is a rally going to come from just the stocks that are already at the tippy top valuation? Or does the next leg of a rally start to happen when all the stocks that haven't participated start to jump on the bandwagon? All of a sudden, 5, 6, 7% dividend yields look pretty good to money managers instead of buying stocks at the very top. So there's some questions about individual stocks. What about Verizon? I have tried to reel Verizon. My problem with Verizon is, to be quite honest, Starlink. And Verizon has a lot of debt, although they're managed, I think, a little better than AT&T. But the debt on those companies always gives me the willies slightly. So I think Verizon is a more I think you're more selective when you put on a trade in Verizon like that. But again, that's just an opinion on it. I don't. Maybe Verizon will always be here. I think Verizon's my carrier. I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it is. But what I'm trying to show you here is this is a technique that you can use. And whether you want to do it or not, it's totally up to you. But again, this is very similar to a buy right. All of the risk profiles of a buy right, a short put, all this kind of stuff are basically the same. And you still got to live with these rules. So I have some PFE shares that I bought a couple of years ago that are down 35%. Can I start the wheel with already owned position? I mean, you can sniper, but I think you could do other trades as well with it. You know? And Verizon's a good dividend stock. I actually just sold my Verizon shares, I don't know, once I got kind of back to even on them, because I do not like the way the stock performed. It should have been doing better in my view, but it wasn't making money, so I junked it. I like my dividend stocks to have some performance, but I think Philip Morris is a better dividend stock, to be honest. Rodney's saying BITO is a 48% div. I know. I know. I somehow have missed the whole Bitcoin ride. So it's sort of one of those things for me. I put it off into the side and I don't even think about it. If I do anything in Bitcoin, it'll probably be the top. So I'll let everybody know. I hate it when those divs roll in. By the way, perfectly acceptable. But you know what? I got not very. I mean, there is like a 5% dividend yield on it now. It's a great dividend. Don't get me wrong. Maybe it's up to 8. All right, gotta go. Anyway, hopefully this was helpful. So I plan to take delivery of the stock and write some calls. And next week we will check back in and I will show you a way to hedge this type of strategy. All right, guys, have a good day. Take care.